Recently, I was lucky enough to spend the week in Broome, Western Australia, with my good mate Steve Doyle. Chasing everything from barra to sailfish, trevally to trout, it really was the very best the West had to offer. In fact, it was such a big trip, we weren't able to bring you the entire adventure in just one show. Like the sneaky afternoon session we spent with Kurt Williamson from Barra Addict Sport Fishing Charters and his one-of-a-kind, open-top, open-door, open-air Land Cruiser. Hey Kurt, automatically those rocks there with a bit of water smell trevally, wouldn't it?
These ones, yeah, it's really good along here.
That's what Kurt's saying. Sometimes you don't even get to where you want to go. We're trying to get up to the creek here, and sometimes you don't get there. The bait balls appear, and there's salmon and queenies and trevally busting them up. Kurt's brought us to a creek just south of Eco Beach Resort that feeds straight into Roebuck Bay. A fast-flowing estuary just littered with snags.
Yeah, well, this is Jack's Creek at low tide. So you can see the tide's gone out and there's left with these little pools. You can see at high tide well above the mangroves there. It's about 12 foot higher than this, so you get a lot more concentration of fish and a lot less water.
While I've opted for the old-fashioned live bait, Steve's trying something a bit more modern with a bag full of Z-Man soft plastics, fresh off the BCF wall of lures. Hey?
Mum and Dad will be in there somewhere.
First cast. That's what we're chasing, mangrove jack. He's only a little fella, but you can see I've had the little live mullet there. He's grabbed it. I've got the circle hook in the corner of my mouth. Kurt's smiling behind me there. He reckons that's a baby, Scotty. Don't even worry about it. It's worth mentioning that you'd never find me fishing a place like this back home, with crocs making this sort of bank fishing a big no-no in North Queensland. But it's not an issue here, according to Kurt.
Being a really shallow creek system, they don't really tend to live here. You see the odd juvenile wandering up and down the coast and stuff out the front there, but yeah, it's only probably about a metre deep out there.
Yeah, got him on.
Might be. Nice jack, maybe.
That's a nice fish. So these guys, lure and bait, you tend to find are your best. Like similar to us on the East Coast. I mean, we don't normally get in a fish this style, but for pulling power and technique, very similar.
Yep. Yeah, bait or soft plastics, they work really well.
They're not bad on the chew either, are they, Jack?
My favourite in the creek.
Yeah. If you love a feed of mangrove jack, and who doesn't, be aware here in Western Australia they must be at least 30 centimetres long, and there's a bag limit of 2 per person. While in Queensland it's 35 centimetres with a limit of 5 per person. You've just got to be on your game fishing the snags, haven't you, Steve?
Don't you? Oh, big time.
He's going straight for that little snag. Here's another nice jack, Stephen. Look at that. How good's this?
That's great.
Across the other side of the country, here in Broome, standing on a bank, ankle-deep water, casting into a couple of snags, plastics, bait, and catching legal-sized mangrove jack at will. Got him on, Steve?
Got him on, Scotty.
What was that, like a halfway back retrieve?
Yeah, just on the little plastic.
Nice.
I've got
to give it to you. You persevered with the plastics. I went to a bit of bait, but that's a big mangrove jack. Oh, what a fish on the placky. Yes. Hey, Steve, I got a little plan for that bloke. Sides come off, hot plate, cold beverage. That's us tonight, mate. This is just the sort of fishing you'll find on your doorstep if you plan a holiday at Eco Beach Resort. Qantas can get you to Broome with direct flights out of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne and Perth.